You ever look around and feel like everyone your age is already burnt out? Like the fire in their eyes got snuffed out by bills, expectations, broken dreams, and Sunday night dread. And somehow, you're the strange one, still hungry, still reaching, still wondering, is this really it? You're not alone in that question. There's something happening right now, a quiet fatigue sweeping through your generation. But maybe, just maybe, you're not tired because you're weak. You're tired because you've outgrown shallow living. You're not behind. You're being refined. And while the world wants you to settle, your soul knows this is just the beginning. So if you've been feeling different, if you're the one asking bigger questions when others numb themselves with smaller answers, this video is for you. Take your time with this. Let it land where it needs to. Every part is a piece of something bigger. Miss one, and you might miss the moment that clicks everything into place. And if you find yourself breathing a little deeper as we go, that's no accident. If you're someone who values content that speaks to your inner life, not just your outer grind, I'd love to have you subscribe. No noise here, just clarity, calm, and truth. Most of us were taught that by our 20s or 30s, we should have it all figured out. The job, the relationship, the identity, the 5-year plan. But no one told us the cost, the silent burnout, the emotional weight, the sense of chasing something without ever catching peace. But what if that exhaustion isn't failure? What if it's a sign of awakening? There are 5 quiet but powerful reasons people your age are tired, and one by one we're going to unpack them, not to scare you, but to set you free. The last one? It's the reason most people never get their energy back. But you might be different. 1. You've been wearing a life that was never yours. From childhood, we're handed scripts. Let me ask you something real. When was the last time you felt like your life actually fit you? Not just looked good on paper, not just made your parents proud, not just posted well on social media, but felt like it belonged to you? If you had to hesitate, even for a second, you already know the truth. You've been wearing a life that was never yours. From the moment we're born, we're handed a script. It's silent but powerful. It sounds like this. Go to school, get good grades, pick the safe path, be polite, blend in. Don't ask too many questions. Don't dream too big. And for God's sake, don't make people uncomfortable. So we followed it. We did what we were told. We became who they said we should be. We wore the clothes. We memorized the lines. We smiled in the photos. And yet, somewhere along the line, our real self got quiet, got scared, got tired of pretending. You ever feel that? That weird emptiness at the end of the day? Even when nothing's technically wrong, that feeling like you're watching your life instead of living it, like a ghost in your own story. That's not laziness. That's not failure. That is spiritual exhaustion. See, exhaustion isn't always physical. It's not just the 8-hour shifts, not just the deadlines or the commutes. Sometimes the thing that wears you down the most is the performance. Smiling when you want to cry, saying I'm fine when you're falling apart, working jobs that don't light you up, to impress people who don't even really see you. It's draining, and it's everywhere. And the sad part? Most people will never question it. They'll keep performing, keep pushing, keep chasing a life they don't love, because that's what everyone else is doing. But you're not everyone else. You wouldn't be here, listening this far, if something in you wasn't ready to break the script. Let me ask you something, and answer this with your heart. not your head. Whose approval have you been living for? Your parents? Your old teachers? A partner? Social media? Your childhood self who thought success only came in one shape? Because here's the thing, you don't owe your life to anyone else's idea of safe. You don't owe your story to a path that keeps you small. You don't even owe your past self the commitment to a dream that no longer fits. It's okay to change. It's okay to wake up. It's okay to stop mid-sentence and say, "This is not me anymore." Ask yourself gently, not with judgment, but with curiosity. If you weren't trying to impress anyone, what would your day look like? What would you wake up thinking about? Where would you put your energy? What would you create? What would you stop doing if no one was watching? The answers to those questions, they're a map. They point you back to yourself, not the edited version, not the version that gets applause, but the version that breathes deeply, laughs louder, and sleeps better at night. This kind of honesty, it's not easy. It requires courage, because it means letting go of roles that once made you feel safe. It means risking being misunderstood so you can finally be free. But this is where freedom starts, not with more hustle, not with more followers, not with more external success. Freedom starts with remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. Music begins to fade slightly, setting the tone for a deeper next step. And as you sit with that, get ready, because what comes next, it hits even deeper. It's about time and how it quietly breaks us when misused. Not all movement is progress. Not all productivity is purpose. And the busyness you've been calling life, it may just be the thing keeping you from living. Let's talk about that. 2. You've been busy, not aligned. Let's pause for a second and talk about something a lot of us wear like a badge of honor: being busy. You wake up, jump into tasks, check messages while brushing your teeth, scroll while eating, reply to emails between meetings, schedule calls between calls, and at the end of the day, you're exhausted. But here's the strange part. You're not fulfilled, because deep down, you already sense the truth. You've been busy, not aligned, and that's a big difference. We've been taught that movement equals meaning, that as long as you're doing, you're progressing, that productivity is purpose, that the more packed your calendar is, the more valuable you must be. But let's be real. When did your calendar become your identity? When did "how are you" turn into "oh, just super busy"? Like that somehow proves you matter. But busyness, it can be a numbing agent, a distraction, a clever way to avoid asking the deeper question, is this actually taking me somewhere I want to go? See, you can be constantly in motion and still be stuck, running full speed in the wrong direction. And here's the quiet truth no one says out loud. You can work 12-hour days and still feel hollow inside if the work doesn't feed your soul. You ever achieve something you thought would change everything? A job title, a degree, a number in your bank account, and then feel nothing? No fireworks, no satisfaction, just an uncomfortable silence like, wait, that's it? That's not failure. That's feedback. It's your deeper self calling you home, tapping you on the shoulder saying, this isn't it, not for you, not anymore. And if you ignore that voice long enough, it doesn't go away. It gets louder. It shows up as burnout, resentment, confusion, that constant low-level exhaustion that no amount of sleep ever seems to fix. Because what you're really tired of is living out of alignment. So ask yourself, Gently, honestly, where in my life am I chasing goals that don't even feel like mine anymore? Maybe they were once. Maybe they made sense in a younger version of you. But people evolve, and so must their definitions of success. You're allowed to pivot, to outgrow dreams, to slow down and ask, is this actually fulfilling or just familiar? Because there's a difference between being in demand and being in alignment. One drains you, the other fuels you. And what you truly crave right now isn't more things to do. It's more things that feel like you when you're doing them. So give yourself permission to stop confusing motion with meaning. Let the noise fall away. Let your energy return home. And stay with me, because what's coming next? It's one of the most invisible energy drains most people completely overlook. And it's not just stealing your time, it's silently stealing your peace. Let's talk about that. 3. You've been emotionally managing everyone but yourself. Let's talk about a kind of exhaustion most people never name, because it's quiet, invisible, and it wears a smile. It's the exhaustion of being everyone's emotional anchor, but never your own. You're the strong one, the reliable one, the one who checks in, holds space, remembers birthdays, reads between the lines. You feel the tension in a room before a word is even said. And while people lean on you, you slowly disappear behind the support. Over time, this role, this silent caretaker, it becomes your identity. So much so that the moment you want to be vulnerable, your first instinct is guilt, because you're not allowed to fall apart, right? You're the one others fall apart to. But here's the quiet truth. You can't keep healing others while bleeding yourself dry. No matter how strong you are, no matter how much you've convinced yourself you're fine, you're not supposed to carry everyone's emotions like unpaid rent in your chest. And yet, so many of us do. We take responsibility for feelings that were never ours. We tiptoe around people's moods. We anticipate needs, apologize for being tired, explain ourselves even when no one asked, just to keep the peace. But here's the thing. You can't find peace while performing for peacekeepers. You can't find yourself if your entire life has become a response to everyone else's discomfort. It's draining, not because love is heavy, but because people-pleasing is. And underneath that constant caretaking is a child who learned early that being too much was unsafe. So now you overgive, you over-explain, you over-function just to feel worthy. But what if you stopped? Just stopped. What if you stopped being the translator for people who never tried to understand you? What if you stopped softening your truth so others didn't feel sharp edges? What if you let yourself be held, not just useful? That's not selfish. That's sacred. Because boundaries aren't walls. They're declarations of self-respect. And when you stop managing other people's emotions, you make room to finally feel your own, to heal instead of hold everything together. So I'll ask you gently, who are you when you're not needed? And who's been managing your pain while you've been managing everyone else's? The truth? It's okay to not always be the strong one. It's okay to put some of that love back into yourself. It's okay to stop performing and start being. Because you were never meant to hold the emotional weight of 5 people while ignoring your own bleeding. And what's coming next? It's raw, it's real, and it's about the wounds you didn't even create, but you've been quietly bleeding from for years. Let's talk about that next. 4. You're still healing from pain. You were never allowed to process. There's a kind of tiredness that sleep can't fix. And it's not from lack of rest. It's from years of holding in pain you never had the safety to release. Maybe it was a moment you can barely remember. A parent's absence, a friend's betrayal, an identity you had to hide just to feel accepted, a feeling that something was wrong with you, even when no one said it out loud. We all carry things we weren't equipped to name, and so we buried them. We got good at functioning, at smiling, at performing okay. But survival is not the same as healing, and over time, those hidden wounds become heavy. You see, most of your fatigue, it's not about today's workload, it's about yesterday's weight, still sitting in your nervous system like a story that never got told. Unprocessed pain doesn't vanish. It shows up as burnout, as sudden outbursts, as shutting down when something feels too much, as that deep, aching tiredness you can't explain. Have you ever asked yourself, why do I feel so on edge when nothing is technically wrong? Why do I overreact to small things or underreact to big ones? That's not dysfunction. That's your body asking for space to feel what it never could. So many of us were raised in environments where emotions were minimized. Don't cry. Be strong. Get over it. So we did. But the truth is, those emotions didn't disappear. They just went underground. And now, they're rising, not to destroy you, but to free you. Grief, shame, loneliness, anger. They all need space to breathe, to move, to be witnessed without judgment. Because healing isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about feeling what you couldn't feel back then, with safety this time. So I'll ask you something gently. No pressure, just honesty. What emotion have you been holding in for far too long? The one you swallow every time someone says, "You're so strong." The one you never gave a voice because it felt like it would break you. Let it out, even a little. Let it move. That's not weakness, that's repair. And it's not just emotional, it's physical, mental, spiritual. You're not lazy, you're not broken, you're healing. And healing takes energy. Energy you've probably been giving to everyone else, except the younger version of you who still needs a hug. Give yourself that hug, even if it feels awkward, even if no one else ever did. Because here's the truth. You don't rise by denying your pain. You rise by releasing it. And what comes next? It's the truth most people avoid, because it requires letting go of what the world told you success was supposed to be. But once you face it, it changes everything. Let's go there, together. 5. You're awakening, and awakening is messy. You're not who you used to be, and you're not yet who you're becoming. You're in that space, the space in between. It's sacred and it's uncomfortable. Because awakening, it's not some polished, pretty moment of enlightenment. It's messy, it's raw. It's like being pulled out of a life you once fit into, but now feels 2 sizes too small. You start seeing things you used to ignore. Empty conversations, performative friendships, goals that once thrilled you, now feel hollow. And while everyone else seems fine chasing the next validation, the next like, the next distraction, you can't unsee what you've seen. You want more. Not more stuff, not more noise, but more truth. More peace that doesn't require pretending. More connection without having to shrink yourself to maintain it. That longing, that deep ache for authenticity, it's not weakness. It's your soul waking up. But here's the thing no one tells you about awakening. It's not always peaceful. At first, it feels like everything is falling apart. Because it is. Everything fake is breaking. The roles you played, the masks you wore, the identities you built around what others expected of you, they begin to crumble. And it's disorienting. You'll lose people. You'll outgrow spaces. You'll start saying no more often. And sometimes you won't even recognize your own voice because for the first time, it's yours. This isn't burnout. This is becoming. It's not the exhaustion of doing too much. It's the fatigue of undoing who you're not. And that work, that inner shedding, it's heavy at first, but stay with it. Because just past the confusion comes clarity. You'll start finding your rhythm again. But this time, it's yours. Not borrowed, not copied, not shaped by approval, applause, or expectation. You'll crave stillness. You'll protect your peace. You'll stop trying to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. And slowly, what once felt like a breakdown begins to feel like a breakthrough. So if you feel lost right now, good. That means the old map no longer works, and you're finally ready to draw your own. This tiredness you feel, don't mislabel it. You're not lazy. You're not falling behind. You're awakening. It's the kind of exhaustion that comes not from failure, but from finally aligning with who you're meant to be. So rest when you need to, but don't stop, because you're not done. You're just beginning to live differently. And that is the most powerful thing you could ever do. If something in you is resonating right now, if you feel seen, not just watched, go ahead and subscribe. This space isn't about hype, it's about healing. We go deeper here, together. Let's recap gently. You're tired because you've been living someone else's story, because you've confused movement with meaning, because you've carried others while abandoning yourself, because you've ignored your own healing, and most of all, because you're waking up, and that takes energy. But don't let the tiredness fool you. You're not weak, you're not late, you're just shifting. And that shift, it's sacred. You're not alone on this path. There are many of us, quietly rebuilding ourselves from the inside out. So wherever you are, however you feel, pause, breathe, return. You're right on time. And the next season of your life, it's going to require a new version of you. Not louder, not faster, but truer. Let's walk that road together. Drop a comment if this spoke to you. What part landed the deepest? Until next time, stay grounded, stay growing, and keep listening to the quiet parts of you that never stop believing.